Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. Another week, another day in the Rat Tail bunker.
I was like, wait,
Studio.
we're not in season.
Another week, another day in the Rat Tail bunker. We're down here.
You make it seem like we sleep down here.
I do sleep down here because my wife, I'm now eternally in the doghouse, and it rains a lot outside, and it's hot, so I just sleep in the basement.
That's right. The actual doghouse is not a good situation right now.
No, the doghouse, the physical
flood?
doghouse, it's bad out there.
Does FEMA help out?
Well, the moon's wobbling, so there's going to be a lot
Dude, the
of
moon
floods.
wobble is super deep.
The moon wobble is the new...
The 2030 apparently is just going to be a deluge. Like, we're
Yeah.
all going to be flooded. Did you see the pictures? I know this
Oh,
is
it's
not
crazy.
soccer related, of Germany, Holland, and all that.
Yeah, they don't flood there.
They don't flood.
Now they're flooded.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. I digress.
We digress.
We digress.
The world digresses.
The world wobbles. The moon wobbles.
Facts. Stay up on climate change, people. Anyways, finals happened. Basically, Italy won both finals because all the Argentines are essentially Italians. I know they hate to hear that, but
It did not come home.
basically Italy runs the world again, a la 2006.
I still feel like there's not a lot of fanfare around how well Italy did. I feel like, you saw some pictures of like the Italians holding the cup or whatever. It's not like people are like, Italians are going to dominate, the World Cup,
2022.
What it's 2022, nobody's saying that. It was like they were a dark horse team. It is more like England just lost it. England basically screwed the pooch.
You think in the final, England screwed the pooch more than Italy
Yes,
won it?
absolutely, 100%. And it was a lot of, and I feel like it was the naivety of the coaching. Southgate lost that game for England.
So
That's my opinion. I will not be convinced otherwise. I thought the players can take some responsibility. I don't think Kane showed up. I don't think that Sterling had a particularly good game. But
I don't think Kane showed up the entire, other than the Ukraine game.
Right.
I don't think Kane showed up the entire tournament.
good for Spurs, not so much for
I
everybody
think
else.
the Spurs season burned him out. I think he was just burnt out. He was burnt out literally of carrying that team.
For sure. He couldn't carry England. They were too
heavy.
Too heavy. They had to they were really good defensively. He gave up one goal in open play.
They gave up one goal in open play.
One goal in open play. What's his name? Pickford got the Golden Glove. But Donnarumma got
Best player of the tournament.
Which is...
If you had put down on Donnarumma getting the player of the tournament, because you're an Italian, you love AC Milan, cool, whatever, it was probably 100-1.
For sure.
So you put a hundo on that. That's some nice.
You knew he was going to
cheese.
play well. He made his first team debut at 16 years old for AC Milan. But it's unbelievable how good he is.
16 years old.
Yep. And he just went on a free.
You can't even
PSG.
drive in some states with that.
It's crazy.
He went on a free. PSG is having this free yard sale. They're like walking around other clubs and just picking up players for free. They got Ramos for free. They got Donnarumma for free. Who else did they get for free? I'm thinking of another guy, and it's not coming.
They're still not going to win the Champions League, which is sad.
Still not going to win the Champions League for sure.
No, because they got Neymar, they get dead weight.
They got Neymar and they got Mbappe, and I don't think Mbappe really wants to be there anymore. And I think Mbappe, I used to not think it was Mbappe's ego so much, but I've read a little bit more now, and he's kind of thinking he's the shit. Granted, when you win the World Cup at 18, and his numbers are exceeding Messi and Ronaldo at that age, I think it's hard not to feel like you're the shit a little bit. And there's a thin line for soccer players between confidence and cocky, but we'll see. But
here's the problem with that team. Neymar is not as good as everybody. Well, Neymar is good.
Neymar's
but
numbers at PSG are crazy.
Watching him in the Brazil Copa America was like watching the Olympic synchronized diving. It was absolutely brutal. It was so bad.
If I'm Brazilian, I'm super embarrassed.
Yeah, they were super bad.
I want to go back. Actually to the Italy-England game because I too agree with you that I think Southgate kind of duffed it. I think my biggest complaint, you got to put Grealish goes in minute 60. That's it. Conversation over. He goes in minute 60. I think he was the one to unsettle Italy, and I don't think he had enough time in the game to kind of be able to do that. Yes. Once he went in the game, if you watch the replay, the second he goes in,
when he gets the ball, he looks up and he's looking to create plays, and at the very least, he holds the ball until he gets fouled, and then you get a free kick.
He's
in a
one of
set
the
piece.
only English players in the last 2 decades. Once again, please reach out if you think differently. Who has that ability? Who's not always just trying to play super quick, one touch and move off the ball and speed it up. He's one of the only players who will stop the ball, and he plays not like an English player.
Yeah.
He plays like that's what Iniesta would do. He's put his foot on the ball, let some other players get ahead of him, stretch the field a little bit more, and then, like you said, engage a defender, get a foul, play through.
Yeah, and Kane plays a little bit like that in the sense that when he tracks back and he's looking for the ball, he'll receive it. He's classically known for having his back to a defender, and it's to his detriment sometimes. But he's so big and so strong that he's creating more than he's actually scoring goals. If you're looking at how he distributes the ball and how he's playing, that first goal was because of Kane, a ball he gave. So that is where England lacked the entire game. Sterling doesn't do it. Saka really doesn't do it, and Saka came on late, and so
end of the first overtime.
Forget the penalty kicks, forget all that baloney about missing penalty kicks. You try to win the game. Like, enough of that. This whole like going to extra time and like going to penalty kicks thing, because it obviously seemed like they were playing for penalty kicks as soon as Italy tied it. That's what it felt like to me. We were screaming at the TV. It was, we're not soccer we have a podcast, we talk about it all the time, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are screaming for Grealish to go in. We're not the only ones. Like, it's quite obvious what needed to happen.
It seems to be the most obvious thing to have played Grealish.
It's ridiculous.
Like, if you do a simulation of that game, obviously you can't do it now because people would be influenced on the outcome, but if you did a simulation before that game and you had 100 people on the pro manager, whatever that thing is where you become a manager and you build your team, whatever, 80% of them, I'm assuming, put Grealish in by minute 60 and or start him.
Yeah.
It's a shock.
I am actually, I know they scored really quickly, and Luke Shaw had a great tournament. I'm not going to take that away from him, but let's be real. I would have preferred a 4-back rather than a 3-back. And you know what? See Sancho play instead of
it might have helped them create more opportunities, but would it have left them more vulnerable in the back? Because for a majority of that game, I'd say 50 to 60 minutes of that game, Italy was more on the front foot. In fact, you could argue that England scoring first was bad. Not scoring first, scoring so early.
Oh, absolutely.
It was like the game hadn't even begun, and then by halftime, they're just kind of like already starting to nestle in and think, wow, we just got 45 more minutes, 2012. These guys are no joke. Bonucci and Chiellini, they've been probably playing as long as center backs is like most. I mean, even the best center back pairings normally only last 3 or 4 seasons at the club level, never mind international level.
Are you worried as a Chelsea fan that Mason Mount had I would say, a pretty lackluster tournament?
No, because he had a tournament. 2 years ago, Mason Mount doesn't even play on England. Now he's a starting fixture. Yeah. I'm super happy with his tournament. I have absolutely no qualms. If anything, what we talked about is it's a freaking shock that Reece James or Chilwell, who I think is maybe a little bit more refined on the defensive end than Reece James, that neither of those guys, Chilwell doesn't get on the field. Reece James gets on for like a minute or two. I thought that was a...
I thought, and I will continue to say this, even though that nobody will ask me, Southgate still doesn't have any idea.
No, he has zero idea.
He has zero idea who his best starting 11 is.
I will say this, and I heard this today on the gram. Some guy was talking, and he's like, look, if Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, or Saka, 2 of those 3 guys happen to hit the back of the net, people maybe think Southgate's a genius, and he pulled it off. He put those guys in to shoot. So I think sometimes we are a little bit too harsh with Southgate with the end result, but I 100% also agree with you that I don't think gun to his head he knows. I've
been harsh on Southgate before the tournament even started, because you know what? He's going around the Premier League. He's going around the Premier League every week looking at who he should be putting in that team. He still doesn't have any freaking clue. He has no clue. And the bottom line is he needs to find some players for Qatar that are gonna work.
England.
And it could be Harvey Barnes. It could be James Maddison. It could be...
The fact that James Maddison didn't even get a call-up is like telling of how he wanted to structure
it could be
the
Mason
team.
Greenwood if he has a good season. I thought Rashford was particularly, when he came in, didn't do anything. I think there needs to be some players that step up, and I don't know who that's going to be, but I am very concerned about this English team because Gary Southgate is not the coach that's going to take them to the promised land.
You know the thing right now that I foresee thinking about Qatar and what could happen, or World Cup 2022, this team is going to be uber competitive.
Oh, yeah.
They made it to the semifinals and just happened to lose to a golden generation Croatian team led by the guy who wins the golden ball, Modric. That game went to overtime, right? Like, they were so close to going to the final. Like, it was coming home. They get to the Euro final. They're going to be in the top 4 of the next World Cup. That's my take, strictly just on the fact that I think their defense is only going to improve.
Yeah.
However, I think it's going to be heartbreak again unless they figure out they need a 9 who can kill. Because this situation that they have is not working.
Nope.
Harry Kane had no service. Marcus Rashford is a good forward. He looked like shit. I don't know. Some part of me is just like, if you're just playing Football Manager or whatever, you just look at market cap. Man City just offered $100 million for him. He needs to start. Jadon Sancho came over for 80 and was going to get more last season for United. Just start him. That was always my thing, that it was going to be too Prem-centric, and they weren't going to give Bellingham and Sancho time. Ironically, I think Bellingham got more time than Sancho, which is like...
It's brutal.
It's brutal. But thinking about the Copa America game, unless you have something else to say about the Italy-England game.
Yeah, I
do have something else to say.
What I need to say about this is that, like, everybody praises Gary Southgate, and he's not.
Who praises him though?
There's people all over Twitter who are like, he had the best tournament. He's an honor. It's an honor to have him as our coach. Like, he blah blah blah. He wouldn't have got us here. But let me just lay down the facts for you, right? This team on paper should have got to the semifinal regardless. Pre-tournament. Then they have 6 home games. They literally have 6 home games. Including the final. And they couldn't bring it over the line. They lose to Italy, who is a dark horse team. It's not even one of the favorites. It's not France. It's not Belgium. You know,
it's not Portugal.
It's not Portugal. They needed to put a stamp on this Euro and just say, we are the literally a Premier League All-Star team, and we're supposed to be the best league in the world. They didn't do it, and that's telling. That's telling to a lot of people. And I thought this Euro was. I'm going to put an asterisk on this Euro because of COVID, because of how tired players were, because own goal was one of the leading scorers in the tournament. But that all these things were helping England this time, right? So all these things
in
were
semifinals,
in favor of England.
They got a questionable PK. That's how they went through.
Right.
That's not a PK. In the Prem, they would have probably taken that back. I don't even know. We've already kind of talked about that, but I think that England had everything set up. So now I'll kind of come back a little bit more and definitely agree with you. I do think that they lost it, not so much that Italy won it. When you think about the home field advantage, think of the 6 out of the 7 games they didn't have to travel. They are a Prem All-Star team. And if you think about Premier League versus the Italian League, the last time the Italian League, they had someone in the final was 2017 or 2018 when Juve was in. And if you look at that Juve team, there weren't a lot of Italians. The last Champions League team that was Italian was Inter Milan. And famously, this is a fun fact, Jose Mourinho's the coach. He wins the treble, so he wins, and they beat Bayern Munich 2-0. He subbed on Marco Materazzi in like the 91st minute just so that an Italian was on the field, had played in that tournament. So Italy, since about the mid-2000s, their league has been dog shit since the scandal with Juve. So when you think about 30,000 feet, like you said, you have a Premier League All-Star team versus an Italian All-Star team. It should be over and done. It shouldn't even be a match.
Shouldn't be a match. This team,
honestly, like big
their
hats
center backs.
off.
Their center backs were the average age of the center backs was like 35, dude. It's not even. It's ridiculous.
Chiellini and Bonucci, hats off.
Yeah.
Donnarumma, friggin' impressive. Chiesa, amazing tournament. They didn't even have Spinazzola at the end.
Yep.
He was great. Insigne, dude, he's like 5'2", and he just bossed everyone in Europe. He fucking bossed everyone in Europe.
I mean, hats off to them. They deserve to win. They outplayed England in that game. They had like 65% possession. They ran a clinic on England. Like what not to do, basically, if you go up early in a game. Basically, right? Am I wrong?
Soccer 101.
Soccer 101. Don't fucking park the bus. Don't slash the tires.
Oh my god.
It's gonna go bad.
Actually, that'd be a really interesting thing. How many of those players have been coached by Mourinho?
Yo.
So starting lineup: Maguire, Shaw,
Kane.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's
I
it.
think that's it.
Whatever.
So let's talk about the Copa. No, actually, the last thing I want to say on the Italy-England game is F you to all the English that are mad racist.
Yeah.
Who, after the game, the three guys who happened to miss penalties, all these young dudes who happen to be black.
Yep.
And their Instagrams were blown up. You can even go look now in the comments. Like, it's kind of shocking that Instagram just doesn't go through. And when you see all the monkey emojis, they just delete that person's account.
Yeah.
You can get, like, Instagram deletes people's accounts. They probably delete about, 10,000 accounts a day. And that's not hyperbole, like, because there's a billion people on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, people just creating like burner accounts.
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
create burner, but it's just delete them. I don't
delete
even
'em.
know why it's even a problem. But that was really sad to see. But Jason Sudeikis came out, and for Ted Lasso 2, he had that sweet shirt. Did you see that shirt?
Yeah, it was like It was like.
It was Marcus, Jaden, and Bukayo.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was fucking
Very
awesome.
nice, very classy move.
Also, Ted Lasso 2. Make sure you watch Ted Lasso 1. And
It's
then
also
2.
really nice that like Jason Sudeikis, American. You know, I know he's into the Premier League.
An
He's
American
like,
white dude standing up.
and just like he made that shirt.
He did. It's a baller shirt.
It's a baller shirt.
So
job.
Copa America, if you're from Brazil, you got to be embarrassed. John Scheimer said it, and I will not argue with him. He's totally right. This is the weakest Brazil team I have seen in quite some time. Even the team that lost 7-1 was actually like a very strong team. They just had about 20-minute period where they just sucked. They just all David
That was
Luiz.
against Germany, right?
Yeah, that was against Germany, and basically Thiago Silva got hurt, so it was Dante and David Luiz, two guys who should never be alone, left to their own devices in a 4-back.
David Luiz.
Just, anyways,
You might say David Luiz in his prime though.
David Luiz doesn't have a not prime. He's always been in his
Where
prime.
is he these days?
I feel like
is he
he's
still
at,
an Arsenal player?
I think he's still on the books at Arsenal.
He's not playing, that's for sure.
Well, not currently, because maybe he did. Maybe he played in that howl earlier when they lost to the
Scottish team,
the Scottish team from like the 5th Scottish League.
5th tier Scottish League.
My God, you leave it to Arsenal to have horrible headlines in non-COVID July.
Yeah, well, preseason's rough.
I mean, I know we're still in COVID.
We got to work out a lot of stuff.
But anyways, Copa America, Messi won.
Yeah.
Di Maria. Honestly, the Copa America final was so similar to the Man City Chelsea Champions League final because the team that's the underdog scored a goal against the run of play, against possession in the first half on kind of a ball where it committed the goalie. The goalie comes out and it was just a dink. And the rest of the game kind of played out. And the goalie was the same one on both. It was Ederson. Ederson lost the Champions League final and the Copa America in 6 weeks.
I'll say something about Ederson. A lot of people won't like this. A lot of people.
I don't think we have a lot of Ederson fans. Even the City fans,
City
they're not
fans.
like dying for Ederson.
I am so unimpressed by him. He is the
I
most
don't know why Allison
unimpressive.
doesn't get the start.
Yeah.
I think Allison's a much better goalkeeper.
I think Allison's a better shot stopper and just like a better guy, like a better sweeper keeper.
It was actually shocking, some of the team selection for Brazil. They start Fred over Fabinho. Fabinho for Liverpool in the middle looks nice.
Nice.
Like if you lose that, you got to ask some questions.
Yeah.
That
Team's
was
stacked, dude.
That team.
That team's pretty stacked.
On paper, I was surprised. I wanted Argentina to win.
Me too.
I'm glad that Messi won. I spoke with one of my Colombian friends today, and he was like, yeah, like, obviously we wanted to get to the final, but we as, like, South Americans are super happy to see Messi win this thing. I mean,
nobody's happy when Brazil wins.
Except Brazilians.
Except Brazilians. Anybody outside Brazil is like, oh, fuck Brazil. I mean, honestly, again.
And honestly, Neymar and Richarlison, the show that they put on, especially after Neymar's 2018 World Cup where he was just diving the entire time. And there was that meme of him just like
rolling.
He's just like rolling through bowling alleys and shit.
He's just rolling.
I'd just be so embarrassed, dude. And then you watch Messi and there's like guys flying in, getting tackled. He's riding all the tackles, gets up, he gets tackled, he gets up and continues with the ball. I mean,
yeah, or he has that bloody sock.
Yeah, he had a bloody
sock. Bloody sock.
Make Kurt Schilling sock look not so
Either
bloody.
way, he's playing through injury. He's playing because he just wants to be on the field playing. Look, I don't like Neymar. I never have. I think he was never worth 200 million.
250
million, sorry.
Isn't that insane?
It's insane. But I particularly don't like Richarlison. I haven't liked him for a long time. I don't like him when he plays in Everton. I don't like him. He's just not that great. Like everybody, I don't think there's a lot of people who think that Richarlison's that great, but like
I was speaking to Alex Yapko and he was like, "Yeah, no. Please let him go. Like give us 30, give us 40. Like He needs to go.
He needs to go.
He needs to go.
He's a joke.
James needs to go. Everton needs to have a sale. Like they brought in Benitez, which is like okay.
They need some more just like workhorse guys, not flashy players. They need some like guys who are just grinding it out. Some like more Sigurdssons, you know. That's Everton's move. More Sigurdssons.
That final was the Copa America final. I enjoyed just as much as I enjoyed watching the Italy-England. There was just so much going on in the little tactics, the little fights. It was finally good to see Di Maria. If Di Maria had played in the 2014 final, John Shimer's going to hate this. Somewhere John Shimer's listening to this, and he's like punching something. Di Maria, had he played in the 2014 final, Argentina beat Germany. Big facts. Big fucking facts. That guy's a game changer.
He's a good player.
He's a game changer. And this was 7 years ago. His legs were under him a little bit more. He slowed down a little bit. I mean, he was a beast. When he was with Madrid, when Madrid had Di Maria and they had the BBC, they had Bale, Benzema, and Cristiano all about 7 years ago. That team was stupid when they first won the Champions League. I mean, that was dumb. That was a nice open.
I saved that. It's between. I didn't do it while you were talking.
That was nice.
You like that?
That was nice. Okay, so Copa America, Argentina won. Italy win the Euro. There are talks that they want to do a commemoration game between Italy and Argentina. And they're going to do it in Naples, to kind of commemorate. And this is something we had talked about before too. Like maybe the Euros and the Copa America, when they play on the same year, which normally doesn't happen, they will kind of have like a match between those two teams as kind of like a
friendly.
Yeah, I think it will be a friendly, but if they do it for Maradona, it will definitely be a friendly. But I also feel like that's so Euro and South American centric, which obviously we know only European South American teams who ever won the World Cup. These are the two footballing regions. But I think it'd be cool. And like I said, most of those Argentine guys have total Italian heritage.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
It'd be a hoot.
But let's look forward to the Premier League season that's coming up.
Do we want to look a little bit forward? How far forward do we want to look?
Just
the season
pre-season.
starts. The official season starts August 14th, I believe.
August 14th, which is a Friday. That's the first set of games. And look out. Go to our Instagram or our Facebook and find our link tree and go there and you can join our fantasy. Go click the link. We may or may not have that aligned by the time you hear this and go do that, but go do that. And also, for the Prem season before the 14th, we want to release an episode of some of the people from our community. Basically, send us a 1-minute audio clip where you say your name, where you're from, and who you think is going to win the Premier League and why. And we'll compile them, and then we'll put them up all together.
I mean, you can just record this on your phone, like using your iPhone, like voice record app, or if you want to get fancy, you can use like you can use like some kind of audio recording thing with your computer. You send it to us as a WAV file, MP3, however you.
Yeah, you could just drop
whatever.
The file from, if you have an iPhone or whatever, from your cell phone. Just drop that in an email and just send it to boysandbolas@gmail, and we'll hear it and then we'll drop it in. But we're really trying to collect those. We're hoping to get at least probably 10, and that will be an episode. And Jeff and I will obviously put in our picks. And that's preseason, essentially.
Yeah.
So we're going to have fantasy and that opening podcast.
Yeah, a lot of transfer things have been happening. The window's open. We will record an episode probably just on transfer stuff. I follow Spurs and Chelsea. Jarrett's heavy in that Chelsea
Exclusive
lore.
Chelsea.
Only in that Chelsea lore. But I follow Chelsea. I'm with it on the Chelsea.
I feel like you're turning into a tripod. It's an off-balance tripod. So like the biggest and longest leg is Spurs.
Yep.
And then you have these little mini legs, which are Leeds and Chelsea.
Oh, I'm not even following Leeds transfer news.
Yeah, but I mean, like throughout the season. You finally got your Leeds jersey, which is fresh.
Yeah, it's a away jersey though.
Yeah, well, it's
still fresh.
Still fresh.
But no, I'm heavy. Yeah, the long leg is definitely still Spurs, and I'm deep in that Spurs lore. Following the Nuno lore these days. Lots of
great. Honestly, you got a great coach. Like he's a
solid
very
guy.
respectable coach.
Yeah, respectable. It ended up working out fine. But lots of rumors happening. Lots of Chelsea stuff happening. Holland maybe.
Chiesa. We tried to get Chiesa. We got shut down.
Guys coming in. Guys going out.
Drew's out.
Going to AC Milan.
Drew's going to AC Milan.
Yep.
We may be using Tommy Abraham
as a leverage piece for somebody.
Well, selling him to Spurs, getting some of that money, and popping that into a Holland deal,
or even like or like offering him up to another team for like a straight swap.
Do you think Holland at 150 is a good price?
Yeah.
Underpriced or overpriced?
No, I think that's a solid price.
I think in the market that's a solid price. This guy's like what, 21, 22? He's a beast.
The thing is about him is that he's young. So like you're gonna get him for on a 5-6 year stretch, solid.
I mean that forward situation
is unbelievable.
When you have Abraham and Giroux out, because that's what they're trying to move to get those 2 9s out, it's unbelievable. You could have Holland flanked by Havertz, who's only gotten better since he joined Chelsea. He's just like continues slowly to get better. I mean, it's like a compound interest situation. Like he's getting like 1% better every week instead of like maybe the bigger leaps we wanted to see, but he scores in the Champions League final. He looked really good for Germany. So you either have maybe Havertz in a false 9, Pulisic and Werner next to Holland. That is a serious problem for anybody. And then you have Conte and Mason Mount or Jorginho, apparently the golden ball winner. Chelsea's looking very good. Like, if you'd asked me preseason last year, I actually put money on Chelsea winning. It was 1-in-18 to win the Champions League. But this season, I think they're actually more likely.
Yeah.
Which is insane. More likely than they were last season.
I still think they have a few defensive issues to work out. I think Thiago Silva staying healthy is their primary concern because they don't have another center back.
We have Christensen.
Christensen's okay.
I mean, he's pretty good.
They're going to stick with 3 back, right?
I would assume. If Thiago's playing, they're going to stick with... Well, it all depends.
You got Aspie. You got...
Aspie and Rudiger.
Oh, Rudiger. They're going to try to... I saw they're trying to get rid of Zuma. Trying to get... They still... I think they need a backup center back. I think they need one solid backup
You know who
back.
I wish we had if Man City didn't poach? I wish we got Nathan Ake.
Yeah, he would have been great.
From Bournemouth. When Bournemouth went down, I wish we got him, but... Because he just literally went to Man City to ride the pine. He played a couple games.
No, he went there to fill their homegrown quota.
No, to ride the pine. He's the Joe Hart.
No, he went there so nobody else would pick him up.
God,
that's how City operates, dude.
I know. I like it.
You like that oil money.
Yeah, when I say I like it, I mean I hate it.
All right, so we'll do it. We'll do a transfer.
Do a transfer episode
before the season starts.
Yes, and just a preseason of the season where we'll probably tack onto that or have a separate one where
I like doing that close. We're going to do that closer to when the season starts, though, because maybe some of the transfers.
Oh, it's going to come out like the 11th or 12th of August, right before the season. So, but I think that's it.
I want to, I want to ruminate a little bit on Everton. I want to ruminate a little bit on West Ham and their Europa League campaign.
Are you jealous?
Not jealous, just a little bit.
Do you even know who's in your European Conference League? Like, who are your opponents?
No idea.
Like,
there's like
Atlanta
qualifiers.
United?
There's qualifiers for it, apparently. Like qualifiers to
what
get
if they just
like,
dump you in
stage?
the CONCACAF Champions League? You're playing like Tijuana.
Well, I don't think it's going to be that much different in terms of like competition.
Oh, I completely agree. You're going to be playing some interesting characters.
It's going to be a lot of teams similar to who Spurs played in Europa League qualifiers. Because remember they had their qualifiers.
Yeah, but you'll be playing them for the
stage.
championship.
No, because teams, I think, if teams get bounced out of Europa League, don't they go down to the
Is there a
Conference
trickle
League?
down to there?
I don't know.
Dark.
That's dark. I hope that whole trickle down system, we haven't talked about this much, but I think that should be abolished.
I think that should. If they're going to abolish the away goal, they've got to abolish this.
Trickle down.
You finished third in Champions League. Now you get to go beat up on all the Austrian farmers. Like, no one likes that.
Nobody likes that. And it didn't, and but it's really funny. Like when a team like United go down, they get bounced down. They go to the final of the Europa League and lose.
Also, Marcus Rashford, Shaw, Maguire lost the Europa League final and lost the Euro final, just like Ederson lost the Champions League final and lost the Copa America. It's pretty brutal when you lose the.
I don't feel bad for them.
Oh, I don't lose any sleep about it. I'm just
United
speaking out
players.
loud at this point.
I don't lose. I don't care. Like it's just a game. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's still just soccer. But like,
is it though?
For them, obviously, it's their careers. But for me, I don't lose sleep over it. I'm not an England fan or a United fan.
You know, I'm really glad you cleared this up. I always thought you were a professional soccer player. I was under the guise.
No, but like I don't like when you take it to the level like you're like making racist comments. That's when it's like it gets to be like a little much. It's like a little bit like calm down. It's not that big.
I guess on the last thing, I sent this to the football chat that we have with Eddie and Nodder, but if it's true that Callum Hudson-Odoi is going to go play for Ghana over playing for England because he's basically just like, probably two things. One, A, it's mad competitive, so he may not get in for a couple years. And two, if he's just like, why would I want to go? I saw what just happened to these guys. These guys are like my peers. I don't want to do with that. I'm going to go play for Ghana.
He'll start every game.
He'll probably start. I mean, Ghana's always had one of the best African teams historically, but he'll likely play definitely way more than he will with England. He may not even go to Qatar. I mean, the team they have is phenomenal. So, but I think that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, sad.
Until
next week.
Until next week. Ciao. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening and see you next time.